Hey guys, I wanted to take a moment to share a story with you, and it's Jesus is alive. After Jesus died, a man named Joseph put Jesus in his tomb that nobody had ever used. The tombs they used then were cut out of rock, almost like a cave. They weren't buried deep in the ground like they are now, but Joseph left. He and some men rolled a large, heavy stone in front of the tomb. Mary and Mary Magdalene had waited a day to see Jesus because they couldn't go on the Sabbath, which is the day of rest. They made spices and oils as a sign of respect to Jesus and went early Sunday morning to see Jesus' body. Now, as they went go into the tomb, they were just about there, the earth suddenly shook, and an angel came down from heaven. And he easily rolled that large, heavy stone away from the entrance of the tomb and sat on the top of it. The women looked at each other like, what? And they rubbed their eyes. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. And it was early in the morning, so I'm sure they were still a little sleepy. The angel was so bright, though, almost bright as lightning, and his clothes was just as white as snow. There had been guards watching the tomb so no one would steal Jesus' body. When they saw the angel, they fell over and they couldn't move. They couldn't speak. They were overcome with fear. They were afraid. Then the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus who has died, but he isn't here. He is risen as he said he would. Come. See for yourself, the tomb is empty." The women were confused. How could this happen? They're thinking. They were sure Jesus had died, and now he was alive. They looked in the tomb and they saw those clothes that Jesus was wrapped in lying there on the ground, and yep, tomb was empty. The angel spoke again. "If you want to find Jesus, he's on his way to Galilee." So the women hurried away. They were laughing and crying all at the same time. They didn't know what to feel. They'd been so overcome with sadness when Jesus died. And now they were so excited to know that he was alive. They just knew they had to find him. And they also had to tell the disciples the good news. So as they were running down the path, they turned the corner and there was Jesus. "Greetings," he said. The ladies fell at his feet and started to worship him. Then Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. Go, tell my disciples to come to Galilee. That's where they'll see me." The disciples did go to Galilee because they heard by this time that Jesus was alive. They were sitting around and they were all talking about this news that they've heard when Jesus walked in and said, "Peace be with you." The disciples immediately stopped talking. Even though they had heard he was alive, they were still shocked because there he was, standing there before them. Jesus said to them, "Why do you look at me like you just seen a ghost? Why don't you believe what you are seeing? Look at the scars in my hands and feet. It is really me. Touch me and see. I am not a ghost, but I am a real person." The disciples' mouths were open. They were amazed. They still didn't know what to think. They were so full of joy, yet it was so impossible, it seemed. Jesus understood now what they were thinking, so he said, "This is what I told you would happen. That everything must happen that has already been written in the Bible." Jesus had told the disciples when they had the Last Supper together, they took the bread at communion, and Jesus said, "This is my body which I have given to you." But the disciples, they just hadn't understood what it all really meant at that point. Then Jesus told them, "You have seen these things that have happened, so stay in the city, and soon I'm going to give you what God has promised you, the Holy Spirit." When we become Christians, Jesus automatically gives us that Holy Spirit to live inside each of us. The Holy Spirit makes us know when we've done something wrong, something's just not right. We might even feel sick to our stomach or just have this bad feeling like, ooh, something's wrong. And that is the Holy Spirit telling us that we need to stop what we're doing. And then we need to ask for forgiveness for what we've done. So the story's almost done, but Jesus has one more person to see. His name's Thomas. And he was one of the disciples that wasn't there when Jesus met up with the rest of them. Thomas had heard that Jesus was alive, but he hadn't believed it yet. He needed to see Jesus with his own eyes. A week later, Thomas finally saw Jesus. Jesus said to him, "Put your finger here. See my hands? Stop doubting and believe." But Jesus continued, "Because you have seen me, you have believed, but it is more amazing for those who don't see me and believe anyway." Isn't that really neat? But Jesus was actually talking to us, not just Thomas, when he said this. If you believe in him without seeing him, he'll think you're very special. That's exactly what faith is. It's believing in God even though we can't see him. So I'm going to leave that with you. And I miss each and every one of you. I miss seeing you guys. I know you're doing well. I've prayed that protective hedge upon each and every one of us as we are away. So hang in there, guys. We'll see you real soon. And have a good night. I love you.